Yes, it's time again for Survival of the Fittest is the soup du jour. I'm Chef Roberto Trevino, and today I started the podcast drinking beer. I'm not only gonna go ahead and go halfway through this and say, oh, it's time to thank our sponsors. I'm just going right for it. Thank you to Orlando Brewing. All right, here we go. Let's take a big long sip of this stuff because I've already had like 3 of these and they're delicious. Interesting news. So, if you can think of any celebrity chef right now that's still out there kind of making noise, on TV, first name that comes to mind is Gordon Ramsay. I have to just say it straight up. After the fucking, after the, I try to keep my mouth in line. Sometimes I just slip, so sorry, everybody. After the pandemic, he's kind of made his big move and has become very popular. The good news is that he's coming to Icon Park. This is currently where I'm working at a really cool restaurant called Tapatoro, but there's just seems to be a lot more movement on Icon Park, and the fact that Gordon Ramsay, I would have to say premier celebrity chef, although his reputation is rough. I mean, I think he sold himself early on as that grumpy chef and that sort of yell at you, and there's some classic memes and things about how with some of the things he said to people. So you can imagine it's just like one of those things like where he's gone kind of to legendary status when you kind of just go beyond even the kitchen and you're just kind of more of a character. So he is actually coming to Icon Park to open a fish and chip restaurant. Now, I like the idea. I think it's great that a chef that caliber is going to come to Orlando and set up shop. It's not the first mega chef to come to Orlando and set up shop, but certainly at the moment, one of the top. And I really am looking forward to it, but I'm just, I'm torn still. I'm torn that if Gordon Ramsay, and I could be totally off base, but I'm not sure about the fish and chips. It's just not something that Americans, or at least on this side of the Atlantic, that we look at as a snack food. It's something, fish sticks are fish sticks, and your mom made them every Tuesday night or something like that, But, and you had them whenever you had them. Fish sticks are fish sticks, and who didn't like them with tons of tartar sauce and lemon? I get it. But it's just not something like we go and just snack on. We don't go to the other fast food places and get the fish sandwich, But it's coming. Fish and chips restaurant. We'll see. Maybe. You never know. I always, I see the demographic in Orlando being so like pan-Latin now that I would just kind of maybe, I don't know. Of course, me, thinking the way I do, I would definitely go más Latino, but Gordon Ramsay's going classic, fish and chips, Inglaterra. Super cool. I'll be looking forward to it. Hopefully they have big pints of beer, and I'll be into that. Beer, fish, and chips, and that changes everything. I could go for that. So, but it's beautiful. I've seen the spot. It's looking good. I hope people do make it out and check it out because it's worth it. I think just discovering new places in Icon Park and on International Drive is really good for Orlando because I think, there was a time where people kind of were like, oh, no, Icon Parks, or International Drive is just like the tourist trap. And I think it was for some time, but I think it's kind of, and there are those places that are definitely that. But, there's a handful of places that are definitely doing, I think the influence from like that Sand Lake area where they have really nice restaurants is kind of spreading this way more where people are willing to dine out, and certainly the stimulus of just having a lot of people everywhere makes it that much more exciting, nothing more exciting than traveling the world somewhere and eating some plaza. And the plaza is just hustling and bustling while you enjoy some wine and maybe a pizza or a salad or whatever you're going to eat. But ultimately, it's that hustle and the bustle. It's that movement. It's that sort of energy that people bring that make, something like that, like Icon Park, for example, or International Drive, an exciting destination. So I think Orlando needs more of that. That doesn't necessarily have to be like, oh, you have to go to Disney World or Universal or any one of those those food court, big food. No, I'm being a hater now. But, and they have some excellent restaurants. There's no doubt about it. And really the premier chefs, as far as, celebrity chefs are all there. So definitely, Orlando is lucky for that, So if you're a foodie and you live anywhere within the megaplex here in the Orlando megaplex, then I think then you have your favorite faux spot, which comes, which instantly in my mind tells me that, there's just so many great Asian restaurants in Orlando as well that really, man, runs the gamut. So if you're a foodie and you live in Orlando, you really got it made. So there. And if you like beer even more, we've been talking about, like finding out who does the best pho in Orlando. And it's one of those things where I think pho is just kind of like, I mean, I'm not going to say it's come of age because, I come from the San Francisco Bay Area where I was born and raised. And honestly, pho is one of those things that's always been around. And I know I say it wrong. I just say it the way it say it. People they'll say, it's pho. Yeah, it sure is. All right, but I've been, pho is something that I enjoy, and it's so good to see it here in Orlando. But it seems to be like one of the food crazes right now, and everyone's like, man, you post on your Instagram, by the way, Chef Roberto Treviño on Instagram. You post anything about a pho restaurant or a picture of your favorite pho bowl or whatever. And people react to it. You get a lot of reactions. Oh, you got to try this place. Oh, you got to go to that place. And I find it just like, it's phenomenal and it's, again, really simple dish, but I mean, elaborate in its flavor profile. I think it's one of those things that is, Vietnamese food in general, to me, is one of the most elegant foods on the planet. It's very subtle and very unique in its flavor profile, which I think makes it, super, just kind of an over-the-top dining experience. And it's not necessarily like when you go to like Per Se in New York or any of these fine, super fine dining restaurants, but it's elegant in the way it's so not elegant. And that's what I think that makes it exciting to dine, those kind of things. But anyways, pho seems to be like the big food craze. And I think people will discover through pho the other wonderful dishes that come from Vietnam, which has an amazing food culture. I mean, really. Amazing family culture and amazing food culture. And so I'm looking forward to seeing more Vietnamese restaurants and more people discovering the wonderful flavors, not only of Vietnam, but Southeast Asia in general. I mean, Thai food's Thai food, and I love Thai food as well because I love spicy food. And I don't think it necessarily has to be spicy to be good, with Thai food. But if it's spicy Thai food, then it's even better for me. And that's what I really, really love. So, here's to great beer. Thank you, Orlando Brewing. And great spicy Thai food. And the elegant flavors of Vietnam. And, I must admit, I don't know too many Cambodian dishes, if there are any, and I'm sure there are. And, but I would consider that the kind of Southeast Asia. I think the Philippine food definitely has made a big splash, and people are enjoying it. I know that Taglish here in Orlando does very well, and lots of congratulations to Chef Mike, who's an awesome dude. I met him a long time ago downtown at one of my restaurants. He had a Japanese chef visiting him, and he was sort of helping their, like giving them just sort of pointers, I guess, and they came in for dinner, and then they ended up doing shots with me and our staff at the end of the night. And needless to say, the haunted restaurant of downtown took them down with massive amounts of tequila and the spirit. And so they got wild, we got wild, but lots of wonderful things for Chef Mike, who does beautiful work. And I'm happy that he's doing well. And I hear he's getting into other concepts as well. So not only is he a great chef, he's turning out to be a great restaurateur. So once again, that's a great thing, with the ghost restaurant, the I guess they call it ghost restaurant. They call them, what else do they call them? They call them cloud kitchens and you know, those seem to be kind of the thing. I have a friend, a chef friend, very, very popular, very renowned chef friend who him and I talk often. And we were talking, and he's based in LA, and he gets around. He's in New York and in here in Orlando, and he gets around. But he's kind of based his entire business model, his personal business model, on these ghost kitchens now. And the thing is, it's interesting because you say, like, okay, so you have a ghost kitchen. Okay, you do your let's just say Tom's Tacos out of your ghost kitchen, or Bobby's Burgers, or whatever the case. You do them out of your ghost kitchen. But here's the thing. Now, you'll have multiple concepts coming out of the same kitchen. And they're marketed. They have their own bags. They have their own little sauce containers. They have their whole thing like it was built as like a fast food concept, and you're ordering it. You've been going there for years, kind of thing, but it's all coming out of one kitchen. And that I found fascinating, because I was just like, wait a minute. Now that is genius, and loved it, and really would explore it somewhat, especially, because dining has changed. Restaurants are wonderful, and restaurants are becoming that much more of a special event in our lives because they're not what they used to be prior to the COVID. And now post-COVID, restaurants have become a very special thing where you can be social, enjoy yourself, eat great food, be entertained by the kitchen, and be entertained by the staff. And that's wonderful. But you eat every day, multiple times a day. And in that time, in one of those meal periods, you'll find yourself just kind of craving something, possibly ordering online or using one of these fancy, apps that gets food delivered to you from any one of these hundreds and hundreds of restaurants in town. So I think that is definitely something you need to consider, that is a huge, new, multi-billion-dollar part of the restaurant business that you should study to get into. Now, anybody who cooks has to be thinking the same thing. I mean, for a while there, the food truck was hit, and everybody wanted a food truck, and the food truck revolution, if you ask me, food truck game shows and food truck, just lines and people following trucks all over town. We're going to this part of town and that part of town because my food truck's there. And that's cool. But I think it's changed. And perhaps the new food truck post-COVID will be the multi-concept ghost kitchen. So that is something to think about. And, like I said, any man or any woman, any chef, any cook, any restaurateur has to be thinking the same thing because it's become that big. And anyone who's operating now or working in the biz knows how much takeout has changed, how much more serious you have to take it in the restaurant, how much more serious you have to, your approach to how you want to present your restaurant. And all these things now are packaged and delivered. And it's a very unique opportunity to make a lot of money. And ultimately, that's the name of the game. Yeah, there's a lot of love in restaurants, and there are those chefs and those restaurants where people work for that. But in the end, it's really about paying your rent and staying alive and surviving. And, surviving is definitely the key. And so this concept or this model, I think, will help chefs make money when they can then open their little dining room where they feel that love of being the chef, perhaps, in a smaller dining room, a smaller setting, a special, beautiful, wonderful restaurant setting, and make their money in a ghost kitchen. Who knows? And definitely kicking that thought around. So definitely tell us what you're thinking. You can always find me on Twitter at Chef Trevino, on Instagram just Chef Roberto Trevino. God, sometimes I get it's just the weirdest thing. You talk to me about social media and I lose it. I cannot even give you an address for the internet. It's just crazy. I don't know why I don't flow that way. But you got to follow our Patreon. Remember, I mentioned that to you before. Look for us. we really want to get that mentoring session built up, and we really want people to bring their serious issues that they feel they need fixing, because not only will I mentor you, but I have an incredible amount of people that I can reach out to where we can help solve restaurant issues, help grow your business, help see that particular niche business that you want to achieve. We can help you with that. I have an incredible resource, and I'm very fortunate for that. And it's my pleasure to share it, and quite frankly, it's really where I've kind of dedicated the new line profession I'm going in. And I am, yes, a chef and do enjoy cooking and cook every day, like I say all the time. But there's more to the biz right now, where I think there's so many people out there who were willing to do things. And there are people like me, and I met several other very good chefs and restaurant operators that are feeling the same, where I'm worth more sharing my experience with people than even just kind of like hustling in the kitchen. Now, don't let my chefs, for me, it's kind of hard to say that, because I still believe that I am like the cook's cook. And don't get me wrong, I'm not trying to be all cocky. I'm just, I love it that much. Now, if I have the opportunity to run a station and work it, and someone says, "Oh, let me help you," I almost get kind of like, no, I got this. Because I absolutely love every moment that I have in the kitchen. But definitely that mentoring, that sharing, and that understanding, and then to see the results, that is fulfilling me now. It's no longer just let me cook this dish and see how the guests enjoy it. It's now taking a restaurant that's having a hard time, a little bit of a struggle, and we help them just kind of to the other side. And then we see the numbers increase. And then we see the staff being happier. We see more productivity. And these are the things that are starting to really fulfill me as a chef, And at one point, I was so bogged down with running the restaurant that I had a hard time to see these things that are so important, so important that you can let your service staff, be appreciated, because they're really the only link you have to the front of the house, to your guest, is that server. And they aren't really selling every dollar that restaurant brings in is coming from every one of those employees. So they have a very important position, and you have to recognize it and maximize it and then protect it. And these are the things that I believe that I can share and am willing to share on Patreon. And we also do this in the physical when somebody reaches out to us and say, we have a restaurant, we have this, we have that, we'd like to think it or take it to this place. We really help that happen. And it's exciting. And I'm very happy to announce that to everybody, because I absolutely love it. And it's my third project that I'm on now that I can honestly say where this has been my main focus. And it's just been really good. And I think I'm seeing the kind of results that will give the kind of credibility that what we're trying to establish for the future can bank on. And I don't take that the wrong way, but this is business. And sometimes people come at you in a very ruthless way with business is business. But on the contrary, this is business. Let's make good business. Let's do great business and just change the business some. And really kind of take the restaurant business deeper into the 21st century and understand the importance of people dining, the importance that people are not cooking as much as they used to, and we have to feed everybody we can, and everyone needs to eat. So I have to say that we are definitely living some very interesting times in the restaurant world, but they're exciting, they're lucrative, and they're on the money. And I mean that, like, it's just perfect. It's a perfect storm right now for you to get out there and start a business, for you to get out there and dedicate yourself, for you to get out there and really see your dreams come true on this side of the biz, And if you are in the biz and not feeling it, feel free to reach out to us. I'm happy to chat with anybody about anything. Really is important to me. I believe in the restaurant. I've said this 100 times that it's like a spiritual place where people, you suffer along your cooks, you're happy with other people who make good money, and everyone's in a good place, and it becomes a very spiritual feeling. And these are the things that I would love the restaurant business to come to flourish and become, because it's important to me. It's important that we keep our business alive and that we keep young chefs learning and that we understand that, the servers are very important. Bartenders are just coming, with the whole mixology thing. There's just an exciting angle. So, keep on keeping on. We'll do what we can to serve you. Look for us on all these digital platforms that we have where we get, you can download the podcast. We're on 18 different platforms. And Patreon. Let's do something. Look us up. And remember, survival of the fittest is the soup du jour. I'm Roberto Trevino. Greetings to all my friends from coast to coast, Puerto Rico, Canada, England, Tokyo. We hope you're still in Tokyo. And we'll see you soon, everybody. I love you and take care.